in the spring of 2012.
New insight into the night that Trayvon Martin was fatally shot by George Zimmerman.
Protests were emerging in different cities around the country. Reverend Al Sharpton had actually called for people to wear hoodies to church on Easter Sunday as a sign of solidarity and protest against the unjust killing of Trayvon Martin and what would ultimately ensue with George Zimmerman's pardon. And there was a demonstration happening in downtown Indianapolis, and I could feel the anger rising in the culture. I knew that there was a problem because of the amount of rhetoric that was following this discussion, and the water levels of bitterness I could feel rising in us as a people group. And so I thought that call to put on the hoodie and identify with I am Trayvon and I am, that could have been me, and just the outrage. I felt like there was a danger in it. And so I decided I would go to the protest just to be present and to pray. And as I was leaving the house, I felt like the Lord directed me to put on my robe, to put on my preacher's robe, and to go into the demonstration. And I did. When I showed up, the demonstration actually came to me. I was standing on a hill, and I ended up being given this audience of activists who thought that I was there in my robe to protest. And instead, I began to preach Ephesians 4 in the midst of the crowd. Be angry, but in your anger, do not sin, lest Satan get a foothold. I was to declare that we needed to guard our hearts and our minds and our emotions and not let Satan get into our mouths and into our hearts through a root of bitterness. And that was one of my first exposures to peacemaking in the midst of protest, that we would be present where it was, but begin to declare the truth of Jesus and see us not come into greater oppression and greater bondage through the internal oppression, but that we would bring him into the center of those environments and see people set free, because the truth will make you free. The crisis has played a major role in forming me, but the crisis is not my identity. And so am I going to put on my identity as crisis, or am I going to walk in and walk out my identity as a son of God, as one robed in righteousness, not robed in bitterness, not robed in anger? And how am I going to, what are the garments that I'm going to wear? Am I going to be one who has no peace and unless I get justice, and so therefore I'm going to become one who spreads division and dissension? Or am I going to be one who makes peace where there is no peace, because I put on Christ, the Prince of Peace, allowed him to govern my heart, my mind, my will, and my emotions, and now I'm leading others in accessing the peace of God?